Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. And if you are a new viewer, thank you for watching and I hope you will subscribe to my channel as well. So today is Christmas, when I'm uploading this video at least, it will be Christmas. So I have a Christmas sweater for today's video and I'm going to talk to you about my language learning progress in 2022. So I want to upload an language learning goals video for 2023 soon, so it will be coming up. But first, I want to reflect on 2022 in terms of language learning. Unfortunately, I didn't make any goals for 2022 because 2021 was not a great year. I didn't do much for YouTube. I didn't do much for language learning because it was such a weird year with everything that was going on in the world, but also in my private life. I had a very busy time, and I thought 2022 will be the same, and it kind of was. It was even in some moments it was even busier. So I didn't make any language learning plans or goals, and that makes it a little bit hard to reflect on the year. And I have to admit that the first part of the year, like the first half of the year, I didn't do much for language learning. So I did keep up with my Japanese reviews, and I started to do some things with Japanese, like I tried for a month watching every morning Japanese news on YouTube and tried to write down some vocabulary that I would hear often during those news moments. So I did that for a while, but then I stopped and sometimes I did my Wanikani review, sometimes I did something on Duolingo, but it wasn't consistent and I just used all kinds of methods simultaneously or like across from each other. It wasn't very structured and that makes it hard to reflect on what I have learned. But I do think I have made progress with kanji learning, so I do know more kanjis. And I think that's due to Wanikani because it's the app that I'm learning the most from in terms of kanjis. But I still have to work on my speaking skills, which are still very bad, and my grammar in Japanese is horrible. So I do have specific goals for 2023, which I will discuss in a later video. What I'm going to do for my Japanese learning, because I do want to make Japanese like my priority language, and I think it kind of is. It is my focus language. So for Japanese, I focus a lot on kanji, and sometimes I did watch videos and listen to the language or watch news, but I think it's not a lot of practice of my listening skills or my speaking skills. I have also in October attended a polyglot conference, which was very nice and very interesting. I have learned a lot of things, but I also try to do conversations in Japanese, and I understand that I still have a lot to learn in speaking and in using grammar, making sentences. I find it very difficult. So it is my goal to read in Japanese, read books, and just being comfortable in reading. But I also, of course, want to improve my speaking skills as well. So it's something that I kind of have to figure out how I'm going to work on that. Another thing that I started for Japanese is a recent thing, and it's this book by James Hayek, Remembering the Kanji. So I will do a proper review of this book, but so far I really enjoy it to learn how to write kanjis and make writing in Japanese comfortable, because often I will see like a very difficult kanji and then I struggle to write it down. But this book kind of learns you to break that kanji down in radicals, and you first learn to write the radicals and then make those very complex kanjis. So I really enjoy this book so far, but I will do a proper review in the near future because for now I'm only in lesson, let me see, lesson 4, so it's not that far. So yeah, that will come up I think next year, somewhere next year. And the rest of my learning actually consisted out of apps. So I used Wanikani, which is a website, but they also have an app. Kanji Garden, I enjoyed Kanji Garden a lot, and I unlocked new kanjis in it. Duolingo, which is just, I use it more to review words, and I do not use it to learn new things. I am reviewing things in it. Um, and I also practice my reading with Satori Reader, which is a great app for reading because it makes reading very easy. You can look up every word immediately, and also when there's like a certain grammar structure in the sentence that is being used, they will describe it and explain why it is used in the sentence and how it works, and give other example sentences. So it's great for reading. It makes it much easier. So these were all the things that I did for Japanese. And I'm not even going to mention the videos that I watched on YouTube and made some notes about it, because it was very scarce. I didn't do it that much. And I hope next year to do more. And if I would have to guess my level right now in Japanese, I would say that I'm somewhere around intermediate. So GOPT N4 almost N3. I think I would pass the N4 level. So that's also something that I will discuss in the next video, what I'm going to do about it next year and how I want to measure the level that I'm at in Japanese. The next language that I practiced was Spanish. And for Spanish, I just started out. I watched some videos about grammar structures, made some vocabulary flashcards. I used, again, Duolingo, but also Spanish dictionary app, which is Spanish Dict, and just watched some Netflix shows and some YouTubers talking about books in Spanish. Because I think for Spanish, I just want to focus on listening skills and eventually speaking skills. Because I think in Spanish, it's a little bit easier to follow like a Netflix show or a YouTuber talking about books than it is in Japanese. Because Spanish is a European language, so it is a little bit easier. However, I'm still a beginner. But I did really enjoy my time with the Spanish language. I think I spent it like 2 months entirely on Spanish and did even less for Japanese. And then I picked up Japanese again. For Korean and Chinese, I didn't do anything. I think it's just not realistic to do Japanese and Korean and Chinese simultaneously. So for now, sometimes I will just look at the Korean alphabet and try to not forget it. So try to review it. But for Chinese, I didn't really do something. Maybe I watched a couple of videos on YouTube about some grammar points or basic vocabulary, but not a lot. So I'm not going to say that I worked on those languages. And the last language is, of course, English. I think I have done the most this year for my English skills. Because for my master's degree, I had to write a lot of essays. I had to read a lot of academic articles and science articles, and even write some of them. So yeah, I did do a lot in English, and recently I have also started a blog in English. So if you want to check it out, it's about language learning and books and reading. So yeah, if you're interested in that, please check it out. It's MariaTheMillennial.com. I will also link it down in the descriptions. And further, I also have read a lot of books in English, just for pleasure, just for reading, not for university work. So I do feel like I have progressed a lot in this language, and even though I do consider myself kind of fluent, because I can understand everything, I can read everything in English, I can use it for my work and my study, but I still want to improve my vocabulary. I want to add more literary like words to my vocabulary, because right now I do have to look up some like synonyms of words that I'm using daily to make like my essays and my text a little bit professional, more professional. So when I'm reading literary fiction, I will see some words that I find beautiful, or words that I don't use very often and I'm not very comfortable with them. I try to write them down and maybe add some example sentences and just look up the meaning of some words, and I write it down in one small notebook. So when I'm writing an essay or something on my blog, I could go back to this notebook and see which words I could use in English that are a little bit more advanced. That's something that I want to continue in the new year. And hopefully my English vocabulary will be broader and more professional. So overall, I'm quite content with the progress that I have made in the various languages, but I do feel like I could have done more for Japanese. So it's like one regret. I wanted to do more for Japanese. I wanted to advance more in my level. I actually wanted to move beyond the N4 level and like feel comfortable in reading N3 books, because I do have an N3 GOPT book, but I tried to read it and it was just a little bit too advanced for me. So for now, I think I'm at the N4 level, and I hope to improve that next year. But I'm glad that I found the time to work on Spanish and also to improve my English skills and especially my writing skills. And I do think writing all of those essays this year really helped me out. And next year I will probably start writing my thesis, so that will also be in English. So yeah, I will also get lessons in academic writing. So I hope to improve it even more. But for now, to summarize, I think most of my language learning was not in books this year, but online. So through apps, through websites, and through YouTube. And I think that will also continue into the new year. But I also want to add more like reading books in Japanese or in Spanish. So yeah, I think that's a little bit more complex, but also something that will ask more attention for me and teach me the most. Because apps are very quick and they are a lot of fun, but you do forget the things that you learn in the app, I think, quicker than when you look things up, write them out, like use a book, see the word multiple times mentioned in the book in different contexts. I think that teaches you more than just an app. However, I do enjoy Wani Kanji a lot for kanji learning, and all of the kanjis that I have learned with Wani Kanji so far, I cannot forget. It's in my head forever. So that's something. I think that the app works great with, yeah, like helping you remember everything and recognize the kanjis. But it's also a very slow app, so I'm still on level 7 and I have a lot of reviews to do and I'm kind of behind. So it's something that I also want to work on. But it's a very slow app to progress. And if you're not doing your reviews, you cannot progress into the next level, which is, of course, very logical, because that's the way how you like force yourself to go through the reviews and learn the things that you still don't know that well before you learn new stuff. So I do think it's a great app, but sometimes it could be a little bit demotivating when you open it and you see like you have 300 reviews and you cannot learn new stuff. You still have to go through all those countries that you made mistakes in. But for now, this is everything that I wanted to mention and reflect upon in my language learning this year. And if I have to reflect on more years, I would say that 2020 was my best year in language learning. I did the most fundamental work for Japanese. I did a lot for starting up Korean and Chinese, and I also progressed in English a lot. I didn't do Spanish that year, but I could like spend hours and hours learning these languages, and especially Japanese. I progressed from not knowing almost any kanji, just some basics, towards I think knowing 100 kanji. And then the next year, I progressed into 200 kanjis. I think right now I could recognize even more, and I'm comfortable with using somewhere around 250. I think 250 kanjis. But yeah, I think my most progress was in 2020, and 2021 was like gradually like declined my motivation, but also my time. And in 2022, I just didn't start out that well, and now the last like months since September, I started to picking things up again and just trying to make up for the time that I've lost. And I did make some specific goals for next year that I'm going to review and reflect upon more often. So for now, this is it. And I will wish you a very happy Christmas days. So Merry Christmas. And also a lot of fun in the new year. And I want to thank you again for watching my channel and supporting me and still being here, even though I almost have not uploaded any video in 2022. I also picked up YouTube recently again. So if you're still watching, thank you so much, and have great holidays, and I will see you in the new year with the next video. Goodbye.